to immediately stop and retrieve it.
It's gonna be going.
Now this is a photo safari, so we do invite you guys to take all the photos that you would like. However, we might not be able to stop for each and every animal out here today. So I would suggest putting your camera or your phone in a sports or an action mode so we can still get some great photos while we're on the move here. Now over there on the right, a little ways out in the distance, it looks like there is an okapi. You can kind of make out its white face with the darker brown body. Now, okapis do have stripes on their front and hind legs, which might lead you to believe that they're related to the zebra. But the okapi is actually the closest living relative of the giraffe. Also over there on the right, there is kind of a smaller animal just along that hill line, it looks like. The darker brown animal, that is a yellow-backed duiker. It also has the nickname the diver. And that's because when it does get startled, that yellow patch of hair on its back is going to stand straight up, and it's going to dive into nearby brush. That way it can hide from any of its predators.
You said?
I thought that was you doing that.
What?
That mean it moved. Bouncy on this thing. You see the yellow thing? Are you holding your arms up? Are you holding your arms up? I was holding my bag. You waiting for something to happen. Chill out, girl. Chill out.
Look at Phil up here.
I'm always like that.
Bad.
That's why I don't get massages because they hurt.
Huh?
That's why I don't get massages because they hurt.
Over here on the left, there are some animals a little lower to the ground. These are bongos. Now, bongos are the ghosts of the forest because they do blend in quite well with their surroundings. Also, those antlers on top of their head, you can see that they are angled backwards, and they actually help them push through the brush quickly and quietly to evade any predators. And there's some more up on these hills up on the left as well. Now it does look like we are making our way out of the woods here, guys, so we're going to keep on moving into the Safi River Valley. Now the River Valley can be a good hideout for most of the water dwellers here on the reserve. So we're going to see what we can spot both in and out of the water this evening. Now it looks like there is a hippo over on that far rock wall on the right hand side. It's quite interesting to see the hippo out of the water because more often than not you will see hippos in the water. And that's basically because they will spend a majority of their time in that water. The hippos can spend up to 7 minutes at a time completely submerged in the water. They'll come up, get some air, and then head right back into that water. It looks like there is another hippo, maybe even two, over there on that left hand side. It's a little more common to see them in the water submerged. Oh, looks like there's 3 of them. Now because hippos spend so much time in the water, they are wonderful swimmers, but they actually prefer to walk along the bottom of whatever body of water that they might be in.
Big bird.
Also, those larger gray birds that are on that center island there, those are the pink-backed pelicans. And they get their name because during their mating season, there is a bright pink coloration that does appear on their backs.
You need to take her to get a massage. Yeah, Michael. You like her.
It looks like just over this railing here on the left-hand side, there is another hippo out of the water. You see, just over that railing there, you can spy that hippo.
Right there, he's that giant thing.
Also over here on the left, it looks like both in and out of the water, there are some Nile crocodiles. Now those Nile crocodiles, they're going to be about as long as a giraffe is tall. So they're going to average about 18 to 20 feet in length.
We fed some of those. We fed them steaks. It was
Now with those great lengths, those crocodiles, they also have very strong jaws. The Nile crocodile averages about 200 pounds of pressure per square inch when they bite down. So that gives them the ability to basically take down anything that might cross their path. And this can include things as large as zebra and wildebeest. It does look like we're getting ready to make our way into my favorite part of the reserve. We're going to head into the savannah. Now to welcome us in, there is this large tree over here on the right-hand side. Well, it does look like it's upside down. Not to worry, guys. It's totally fine. Completely right side up. That's just the big
Get out of
tree.
here quick. Let me take this picture.
It does remain leafless for about 9 months out of the year, so that's what gives it that upside down like appearance.
Omar, what are you thinking, man?
you on top of the crocodile.
Oh yeah, we're getting it in.
Now the savannah is
wrangler.
home to some of the more
I'm a
popular
wrangler. You
animals
see
of
me?
Africa.
I see you.
Like the lion, the giraffe,
you.
the zebra, the wildebeest. So we're going to see what we can't find as we weave our way through here.
I was standing right behind you. Here, sit down, look at your steak. You can see no matter what.
As we come around this turn over here on the right hand side, there are some smaller kind of tan animals with that brown stripe and the almost completely white legs. Those are the springbok. Now the springbok, while they are small, they are in fact full grown. And those springbok, they can actually jump about 6 feet in the air and 13 feet across.
What? Across the road and everything. They're not like fenced in.
Now a little ways out in the distance, there are some other animals with those very large horns on top of their head. Those are the Ankole cattle. They're also called the Watusi cattle. Now those horns look like they might be heavy for the cattle, but they're actually quite light, and that's because they're actually hollow inside with a honeycomb-like structure. Within that structure, they do also contain some blood vessels, so that way when temperatures start to rise, the cattle are able to completely circulate their blood through their bodies and their horns, which helps keep their body temperatures a little cooler. Over here on the left-hand side, there are some sable antelope out in the distance. About halfway out on that plain there. The sable antelope are the official antelope of the Harambe Wildlife Reserve. So another sable antelope, Ankole cattle, and then these animals a little ways down that are kind of a lighter tan color. These are the Patterson's eland. The Patterson's eland are the tallest antelope on the reserve. The males are going to stand about 6 foot tall at the shoulder when fully grown. And the larger orange structures on either side of us here, these are termite mounds. Termite mounds like these ones here are made of saliva, dirt, and dung. Now when they solidify, they are going to be about as hard as concrete, so that way larger animals like the giraffe, they are able to use them as scratching posts. And over there on the right, there's a little closer view of those cattle that we saw just as we came around that turn.
Let's try it. I did. Can you hear me?
No, he's just weaving back and forth.
Over on this hill, over on the right hand side, there are some gray animals. Those are the wildebeest coming up. Now wildebeest, their name in fact does mean wild beast. So if you do ever forget, not to worry, it's going to be right there in the name for you. Also, wildebeest have the name New, spelled G-N-U, which is for the grunting sound that they make, which does in fact sound like new.
Who didn't? You get it for free. Why not? You get anything you want here. Take it. You was eating that other one for me.
Oh yeah. Actually, in the hotel, where you like look out your window at the giraffe.
Also, just in case you hadn't seen them yet, it looks like there are some giraffes up ahead here on our left. So we're gonna hope they don't go too far just yet.
Oh, there
we are.
Oh, look at the guy.
So a little ways out there, but there are some giraffes. Now, if you look closely at the pattern, you can tell that it's a little more jagged and less defined than most patterns. So that's how we're able to tell that those giraffes there, they are the subspecies, the Maasai giraffe. Also, when those giraffes are born, they are going to be about 6 foot tall at birth, and they usually start walking within their first hour of birth as well.
It's a beautiful stick.
I miss it.
Dang, that's rough.
Bad job.
It sure does.
Smells the trip.
Then you get to ride around with it in the back of your truck. Little small truck.
Now we are coming up here on the oldest bridge on the reserve, and it looks like it has seen some better days, guys. So I'm going to ask y'all to think some happy thoughts and cross those fingers as we make our way across here.
Uh-oh, a squirrel.
All right. Well, we made it over that bridge, but how about we keep going just in case, guys? Now, up ahead here, we are entering what's known as the red clay pits. Now, if you look towards the bottom up ahead here on either side, it looks like there are some tusk marks as well as some footprints. Those are usually good indicators that some elephants have been through here. So we're going to hope that they haven't gone too far just yet. Now, I say this is a good indicator because elephants are often going to eat that red clay that we just passed through. Basically just like taking a daily vitamin for us. It helps them get any vitamins or minerals that they might have missed during their ordinary diet.
Look at the squirrel. Oh, jump in here. He's ready to jump on this thing. I don't know what y'all like. Oh, it's squirrel. I wonder if somebody would eat it. I think they got that. Oh, such nice stuff. Flamingo.
Up in the head here over on our left hand side, there are some larger pink birds. And these are the greater flamingos. Now the greater flamingos, they do get that bright pink coloration from the beta carotene in the shrimp that they eat. Also, if you ever see a flamingo standing on one leg, it's basically just temperature regulation for them. So think of it like sticking one leg out from underneath your blanket while you're at home.
They must be nice and cool today.
Up in front of us here, they're going to be on the left. There are two white rhinos. Looks like one of them might be on the right now that it's crossed. Now, white rhinos, they actually get their name from the Afrikaans word "wit," which means wide. So during some miscommunication, mistranslation, the English thought the Afrikaans people were saying white like the color, but they were saying "wit," which meant wide. So the main difference between the black rhino and the white rhino is the white rhino will have a wider set jaw.